What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to take a look at this brand new 2020 Chevrolet Camaro LT1 Coupe. Huge shout out and thank you to Randy Marion Chevrolet for providing this car for today's video. Definitely check out the link to their website. They have a huge selection of brand new 2020 Chevrolets, so definitely check them out. And don't forget to leave a comment on today's video. We are giving away a GoPro for the month, and that'll be your entry for a chance to win the GoPro. So this is the brand new Camaro 2020, and this LT1 is actually a brand new trim level, so let's get into it. And the model that we're looking at today is finished off in red hot and has an MSRP at $37,000. Underneath the hood, this utilizes a 6.2 liter naturally aspirated 8-cylinder engine. This cranks out 455 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and 455 pound-feet of torque at 4,400 RPM. The engine is either paired to a 6-speed manual or in this case a 10-speed automatic transmission and sends the power to the rear wheels. And with a limited slip differential and a curb weight at 3,700 pounds, you're looking at a 0 to 60 time at 4 seconds flat for the automatic and 4.3 for the manual. The Camaro runs off a 19-gallon fuel tank, and with this engine and powertrain configuration, you're looking at 16 miles per gallon in the city and 27 out on the highway. The overall length is 188.3 inches with a wheelbase at 110.7. The height is 53.1 and the width is 74.7 inches. And being the LT1 trim level, this car also features ventilated disc brakes in all 4 corners, and it does have 4-piston Brembo brake calipers up front. The 2020 Camaro with the V8 engine has an updated design comparing it to the 2019. The bumper has a body color portion in the center as well as a lower front splitter finished in the same red color. We have large mesh openings in the upper and lower portion of the grills to allow maximum cooling to the front mounted radiators. Has an aggressive mesh design that has a really cool look. And even looking at the farthest ends of the front bumper, there's functional air inlets to allow air to go into the bumper and then protrude out and around the front tires. We have the Chevrolet logo back in the center of the grille, finished off in black and chrome. This also features LED headlights with LED daytime running lights. The headlights are sunken into the bumper with nice black trim around them. And the front bumper flows nicely from one side to the other, giving it a mean wide appearance. And it blends nicely to the hood with sharp body lines in the center, as well as a functional heat extraction vent right in the center of the hood to help cool this 8-cylinder engine. The 2020 Camaro has a great side profile. There's a prominent body line in the lower portion of the door that has a very clean look. You can even see another body line going from the headlights on the top of the front fender arches, going through the mirrors, and then going all the way to the rear windows. And that contrasts the body line on the rear fender arches to help give the rear end a very wide appearance. This trim level also features a set of 20-inch silver wheels that have a great contrast against the red paintwork. And then as we make our way to the rear end, you can see how the roof line slopes nicely to the trunk lid, and then there's some more aggressive body lines in the side portions of the rear bumper. And then finishing it up in the rear, you get the 3-dimensional LED taillights, a prominent body line in the center portion of the rear bumper, as well as the standard backup camera. This has a satin black lower diffuser with your dual quad-tip active exhaust system. So there's a good look at the 2020 8-cylinder Chevrolet Camaro. Comment down below, what do you guys think of this new design? It's a little bit different than the 2019 8-cylinder vehicle. They changed up the front end to be a little bit cleaner. So now we have the key fob. Let's go ahead and check out the interior. Before we do that, we're gonna do the remote start. Just going ahead and locking the car and then holding down the engine start stop button. We can automatically start up the car. That 8-cylinder roars to life. We can already get a pretty good startup and then a nice idle sound of this exhaust. And then to go ahead and shut off the car, just hold down this button real quick with a double tap. The car is currently locked. All I have to do is go up to the door handle and you press the button on the side, it'll automatically unlock. To start off taking a look at the door panel, you have nice contours all in it, having a very aggressive design. We get black leather along the armrest here with some white stitching. There's some nice padding on it too. Your grab handle is right here. You have your trunk release button and then a little bit of storage space. You have automatic windows, all of the mirror controls, and then your grab handle up top with lock and unlock. Moving inside, we have Camaro written along the door sill, and then these seats are power adjusting. They're finished off in cloth with black. We also have some color contrast stitching to it, and there is a gray two-tone design in them, giving it a nice appearance. Spinning around to the steering wheel, this is all finished off in black leather with gray color contrast stitching. It is a flat bottom design as well, and you can see the paddle shifters behind it. And then now inside the car, before we go ahead and start it up, I'll just turn on the electronics with the engine start stop button. You can actually start this vehicle in 2 different very cool ways. If you go to driving mode, there's engine sound. You can actually start it up in sport mode, or there is a stealth mode where the exhaust will stay very quiet under startup. quick rev in sport mode from the inside. Nice throaty sound to it. Going into stealth mode though. Valves will close. Along the steering wheel, we have all of your cruise control settings over on the left side, as well as favorite buttons for the radio. We have your volume controller on the right, as well as menu buttons for the screen in the center. Going through this center screen, you can scroll down. You see we have a digital speedometer. Scrolling down into some trip A information, your trip B. Then we have fuel information, the oil life, tire pressure, and you can see many other items in here, which is a great touch to have everything on a digital display like this. Turn signal and headlights over on the left, and then of course your windshield wipers on the right side. These paddles have a really nice feel and look to them. They're very solid. We have one of the air vents over on the left side. Just twisting this will open and close it. And then above that we have cool contours above the actual gauge cluster, giving this Camaro a very aggressive look. You can even see the contours within the hood. A nice piece of leather in the center of the dash with some color contrast stitching. Taking a look at this touchscreen display, as you already saw with the engine sound mode. So we can go under vehicle, we have an apps icon, and then your system. We can adjust a lot of different things in here. We can go under apps and see your Android Auto, your different audio and phone devices. Then we have your driving modes. You can adjust the climate control with some settings in there, comfort and lighting, all the different other modes. So it's nice how there's a ton of configurations within this screen, Wi-Fi hotspot, date and time, everything like that. If we go ahead and put the vehicle into reverse, the standard backup camera will pop up. You have a very HD display, as you can see. And then we can go ahead and back into drive. We have a home button on the left side of the screen that brings you to your main menu. With the Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, that can bring up navigation as well as your OnStar. Swiping over to all your radio controls. We have a power on-off system for the actual radio. And then we have some shortcut keys down below here. You can go under the navigation, your phone, and then you have the 4G over there, a phone icon as well, and some radio controls. All of the climate controls are down below here. We even have an LCD screen on each side. The screen on the left side is for your temperature. It's controlled by just rotating this, and then over on the right side to control the fan speed, you just rotate that. It'll even show up right there on the screen. And then everything does come up on the actual touchscreen display. We have different zones right here. Just tapping that, it shows up on the corresponding screen as well. Auto, AC, and recirc, and then an on-off button right in the center, as well as the defrost buttons. We have the hazard button located in the bottom, as well as a leather shift boot around the shifter. Taking a look at the different drive modes, we have your traction control on and off system, and then going through this dial right here, we have different driving modes. We have a snow and ice mode. We can go up into sport mode, and then a touring mode, and that'll actually also adjust that exhaust valve that we saw earlier. We have an electronic park and brake. Flipping this up, a 12 volt, two cup holders are located in the center, then a very nice armrest with black leather and color contrast stitching. We can open this up. We have a pretty good amount of space in here. You can easily fit some nice items, and the armrest is actually very comfortable. Looking over on the right side now, we can take a look at the glove box. Pretty typical size here, a lot of space, and then one good look at the overall interior. I think Chevy did a great job with the dashboard configuration and all the cool contours within the car. The 2020 Camaro definitely has a really cool style. Now the Camaro is a 4-seater vehicle. If you pull this lever right here, we can move the front seat out of the way and take a look at the rear seating. You have the same stitching design with the two-tone accents. We're gonna go ahead and hop in. I have the driver's seat set to my height, which is 5'11". Obviously you're not buying this to be a dedicated family car to put people in the back here. But surprisingly, I actually fit. The headroom is a little limited. There is a little bit of a bubble up here. I know it might be hard to tell with the lighting, but that actually helps make it to where my head just barely touches the ceiling. And then my legs, they do have to go on the outside of the seat. But as you can see, I am fitting in here, so two people could definitely fit. We also have an armrest over on the left side, as well as a speaker. So not too bad. The window is a good size, so you do get some light in here. And then taking a look at the other side of it. So of course, a little cramped in here. We actually do have a pocket right there, and then a little bit of storage here. So then hopping out, not too bad for what the car is. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the trunk. You can either use the button on the key fob, the one on the interior, or there actually is a button over on the right side here. Pressing that, the trunk pops open. This car has quite a lot of space in here actually. It's pretty deep. You can see how it goes all the way to the rear seats. Those do fold down as well. You can see how it's pretty squared off in here. The trunk opening is decently sized, so you can fit some good sized items in here. And then with the seats folded down, you can see how much space you have from the trunk all the way to the interior. And then taking a look with the front seat folded up, these do fold down pretty much flat, and that's a decent size opening. So for the Camaro, you get a nice V8 muscle car, but then also pretty practical. Alright guys, so we are now in the 2020 Camaro LT1. So this is kind of like an SS, but more of a base model car, but with the performance. You got the big engine, the Brembo brakes, the active exhaust, stuff like that. And remember guys, if you want to win the GoPro, all you gotta do is comment on today's video for your chance to win a brand new GoPro. Definitely take advantage of that. So right now I have the engine sound and then the steering mode in the auto mode. So that is actually gonna be controlled with the mode button right here. If I go into sport mode, everything gets louder and sharper. We're gonna start off in touring mode and in automatic, just to get our bases with how this car is. We have a 10-speed automatic transmission. So just getting up on the road, I like the visibility and the view out of these cars. Some people say it's too hunkered down feeling, but honestly it is nice and aggressive. I love these bumps on top of the gauge cluster. It just looks really cool. And then on the hood, I can see one of those sharp lines. I can see the air vent over here. So it just, I don't know, it kind of puts a smile on your face just looking out of this car, just because you feel like you're in something different. It has a lot of aggression all around. The windows are actually pretty large, so I can see out very well. The roofline is lower than normal cars or cars like this, but it just gives it a cool look. And then the mirrors all adjusted properly. I actually don't really have any blind spots. I can easily see over my left shoulder. Looking over your right shoulder, same thing. It's pretty good. So as far as just comfortable driving, we're going about 40 miles an hour. Like I said, just normal automatic comfort mode. It is actually a really comfortable car. This is not even a good road. The shocks are doing a really good job absorbing everything. It just feels pretty normal and nice. I love this leather steering wheel. It feels very nice in the hands. The steering is already pretty tight, even in just the basic mode right now, and hitting some bigger bumps. So definitely a nice car just to cruise around in at slow speeds. We'll do a small acceleration as the Camaro passes us. Just still in the automatic mode with the stealth exhaust. Honestly, it's hard to hide that V8. That even sounds really good. Half throttling it like that, just getting up to 45 miles an hour. This is a healthy engine. I mean, 455 horsepower and torque, I think. That is definitely a nice power plant. So with that said, we're gonna put it over into manual mode now. I can shift with the paddles or using the shifter down here. And then just toggling the mode button down to sport mode. That sharpens up the steering as well as opens up that exhaust valve. You can already feel the steering is a little bit heavier. We'll downshift a little bit. And I like how in the center gauges you can actually see what gear you're in. And then getting up to speed now, do a little bit more of an acceleration. That V8 sounds so good. That is a good sounding muscle car for sure. Gets up to speed with no issue. That wasn't even over 4,000 RPM. And the car definitely is adequately powered with this engine. Paddle shifters seem pretty responsive for what they are. This is a normal conventional automatic transmission, of course, and they seem to do what I want. I click the paddle, not too much of a delay. There's a little bit of a rev match that you can hear. So then real quick, we'll put it back into the normal modes, automatic, everything. As far as the user interface with the Camaro, it's very basic. I like how Chevy did a good job just making it very simple and minimalistic. There's not too many buttons going on. It's exactly what you would think. Even doing the fan speed and the temperature control, you just rotate the entire bezel. That is very cool. You don't have to worry about another separate button that would just clutter it up. And then the buttons on the center here, so easy to read. And I like how all the buttons are a little bit lower than this bezel piece right here. Once you tap one, it comes up on the screen just to kind of help you confirm that you know exactly what you just pressed. So I like how there's a little bit of redundancy there just to make it a little bit easier for the driver. And then the buttons you get on the steering wheel are super easy. And even these ones are actually controlled with the back side. You actually pull it from the back to adjust the volume. So I like how it's not cluttered at all. It's very simple in here. And I like how a lot of cars nowadays are going the simple route just because you don't need a million buttons to get the job done. This is very minimalistic and basic. And even if this were a 2SS with every luxury option, there's not too many more buttons than this car. And then the overall fit and finish, this is not a crazy spec or crazy expensive car. And it actually feels really nice. The leather you get, even the cloth and everything, it's very well appointed, I would say. So then on a little bit of a road with some twisty turns, second gear. And the actual shift is very quick. There's a little bit of a delay being a traditional automatic for the paddle shifters, but the actual gear change is very lightning quick. you want a little bit more performance and more drama, of course, go for the manual. That is a fantastic transmission. Nice little rev match even. Wow. Yeah, this thing has a nice powerhouse to it. The handling is really good. This car, way under 4,000 pounds, so it's nothing crazy as far as curb weight goes, and it actually feels very composed. It's not the old school muscle cars where they couldn't take a turn. This car, you can actually take some turns, and it feels light on its toes. Steering is very sharp. The Brembo brakes, just hitting them a little bit. They do a really good job bringing this car to a stop. And when you are using this transmission, being a 10-speed, that's quite a lot of gears. It doesn't seem like too many. I'm still staying pretty much under 7th gear, so I don't really feel like you're gonna be into 10th gear, normal driving, you know, under 60 miles an hour. It's not like there's a million gears to play with. Going around a nice sharp turn now, powering out of it. Very nice feeling. That limited slip differential is gonna do a great job helping you power out of turns without losing traction. But I think that is about going to wrap up the 2020 Camaro. This is a unique trim level, being you got all the performance. You can opt for a manual if you would like. And then the interior, you just have what you need, which a lot of people, that's all you need. You have the basics and you have the fun aspect. So definitely a pretty well packaged car. But that is the 2020 Camaro. Definitely a fun car to drive, a lot of power, pretty usable car all around, and definitely pretty sweet. Once again, a huge thank you and shout out to Randy Marion Chevrolet for providing this car for today's video. Definitely check them out. They have a huge selection of all the new GM vehicles, and they're getting a ton of these 2020s in ready to go for the new year. And then if you want to win the GoPro, just comment on today's video. That will be your entry for the GoPro at the end of the month, so definitely check that out. But that is going to wrap up today's video. Give it a huge thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys next video.